Alright guys, welcome. I'm here with ArkDev, one of the founders of NFT Worlds. He's gracefully joined us and going to give us some answers to a lot of questions that I'm finding in the community of not just the NFT World projects, but also other projects that are working with the NFT Worlds right now, looking to adopt their platform and create some kind of little brother project in some regard. And I have some questions for ArkDev. He's an absolute legend for giving us the time, and so with that being said, I'll start you off with something will be very exciting. When you envision NFT Worlds 5 years from now, what does that picture look like?
Yeah, we've thought a lot about it. I think that myself and Temp both see gaming specifically around this idea of play to earn and how it ties back in this greater idea of metaverses being a really, really big macro trend. And our goal is to be the go-to platform for everyone to build a metaverse on top of. So you start a community project, an NFT project, or anything in general, you want to make a play to earn game. We want NFT Worlds to be the go-to, and in 5 years' time, we want to see the top play to earn games being built on NFT Worlds.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna jump a few questions because that might tie into your 5 years plans.
Sure.
What are your thoughts on verified builds compared to non-verified builds? I know this is going around the community, and I know the general consensus is it's frowned upon. But
Sure.
We're looking at 5 years down the road. Do you think we're going to actually see a big separation from verified builds?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest reason we did verified builds was because, especially early on, before we had better protection in place, it was very difficult to tell, was this build a genuine one-of-one build, or did someone download something from Planet Minecraft, go into Minecraft, edit, build on top of their seed that way, and then pawn off some work that wasn't actually something they did, which we don't want people's creative efforts being stolen and then flipped by someone else so they can make a quick dollar. That's not cool. The verified build tag is really just kind of for that reason. It gives the seal of approval, this was built by a verifier builder within our community that we know does actual one-of-one builds. We know they don't copy paste things, and if they did, they lose that status. And by having that status as well, it gives trust for them to market their services to the community. And then as far as the price deviation between verified and non-verified worlds in the future, I think there'll probably be a role there, but I think especially as we get into multiplayer, we're going to see worlds that have the most value being the ones that have the best and most active play to earn experiences. So someone can make a non-verified world, but let's say it has 5,000 players active every day and is generating a ton of world income for them. And let's say they wanted to flip that, I'm sure someone would buy it for way more than just a verified build.
Yeah, I guess it's all about that on authentication, because as you know, when you have a verified builder, all your per se community on these little brother projects will be able to say this is unique to what our brand is. We didn't cut any corners. Right. I think as people that are experiencing in the NFT industry, we see those corners that are being cut, and so that's just a personal view on it myself. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. It will be interesting to see the price, because right now it's very affordable to get someone to work, so one of these absolute studs to work on your NFT world, and they're very professional at what they do. So anyone listening out there, if you've got your own NFT world, I would also suggest that you go through the verified builds. There's a Discord, there's a link in the links description on the NFT worlds. Is there a landing spot that you could send people to the building Discord?
Yeah, I'd have to double check. I think there is. If there's not, we should definitely add it. But I don't actually know off the top of my head without looking.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. So then, what is a basic breakdown of community. This is a bit of a difficult question. Just take your time. What's a basic breakdown of community traffic yields for an NFT world owner? And sorry, a two-part question. How does that also, in turn, like boost the overall NFT world ecosystem? Because I believe there's a way, is there not, for it to kind of do a full circle where it's sustainable because NFT Worlds is making $1, is it? Or
Yeah. Can you just so I understand exactly what you're asking and want to know? Can you elaborate more on the community yields?
So, I mean, I read somewhere along the lines that NFT world owners that have a lot of traffic on their NFT worlds will produce some kind of trafficking yield.
Oh, yeah, I understand what you're saying now. So the way this is going to work is we have the 50% reserves of tokens for play to earn, right? The people that launch community worlds or just play to earn experiences of games in general that have like high traffic players that are sticking to them, genuinely enjoying those worlds, they'll have a greater opportunity for greater allocation from those play to earn reserves, where basically NFT worlds will act as a faucet to supplement playability and rewards for players in those worlds, because we've seen that players are really enjoying them.
Yep.
And the way the world owners then can earn from that is players are already earning in the world. They're earning play to earn rewards that are coming from the play to earn reserves and not from the world owner's specific reserves. And then if those players go back within that world and are spending to buy items in game from the actual world owner or transact with the world owner, that's how the world owner will, get more world.
That's just interesting because some models with these little brother projects, the NFT worlds, are giving the trafficking yields back to their token holders. So
yeah,
that's cool. Like you can give, in-game purchases that produce revenue can be what produces another stream of tokens distribution. Cool.
Yeah.
Really cool. Now I know the answer to this, but I just want you to explain to someone that might not is how is World executed in a way that makes transactions gasless? Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, so I think this is going to be a really big deal when we have many worlds live and the play to earn and spending of world is active in game with those experiences. The way we do this is first, in-game transactions run on Polygon. Polygon by default, like any network, has a transaction fee associated with it. On Polygon, in order to put a transaction through, you have to spend something called Matic. That's the equivalent to ETH as if you're putting a transaction through on Ethereum. But because Matic is so inexpensive, what we can do and what we've done to make them gasless is that there is a set of decentralized nodes that will be running and tied to the game client, where the game client can submit transactions through them. And those nodes are set up through the world contracts and other Polygon-based game contracts for NFT Worlds that we built, where when you want to send world to a world owner or pay for an item, for example, that transaction goes through this node. You basically, behind the scenes, it'll get signed through your game client, or if you're using the MetaMask implementation, it would get signed. It'd just be like signing something on MetaMask. Don't actually push the transaction through. The node takes that signed transaction, and it basically has the ability to pay the Matic, the gas fee, the Matic, instead of you paying it directly. So you need 0 Matic in your wallet in order to push the transaction through. And the way that it gets compensated for paying that Matic is that in the way that those transfers work on the token contract, a fee can be applied to transfers. So that node can say, okay, I'll cover your Matic so that you don't have to have any Matic or have the actual gas in your wallet to send this transaction through. But in exchange, you maybe have to give me 0.5 world or 1 world token or whatever from the total amount transferred. And I'm going to then behind the scenes, convert that back to Matic or something, whatever the exchange rate is. So I continuously have the Matic supply to cover gas, and you don't have to worry about the friction of getting Matic in the first place.
That's awesome. That is revolutionary. So you guys came up with that concept, or did you find that somewhere else?
Yeah, I've never seen any other projects doing this
I
yet.
have not either.
We have some very, very talented Solidity developers that work with us. I can't take credit for like being like, oh yeah,
Right.
we'll do it this way. Someone was like, you should look into ERC 2771, and then we went back and forth on it, and I was like, holy crap, this makes sense. And they were like, we could do it this way, and then it's just like we explored it more, and it's like, wow, like this could really work well.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're I guess probably the first to implement it in production at the scale that it'll probably get used at. And
Yeah.
who knows, maybe we're setting the future model for play to earn for people running on Polygon.
I would agree with that statement entirely. This is kind of a home run, but is there virtual reality in the future for NFT Worlds?
Yeah, I mean you can play VR right now if you want. Since like it's based on like the current implementation is based on the Minecraft game client and launcher.
Oh yeah, you could just load it with
Yeah,
VR.
there's mods on the client side that support full like VR.
Incredible.
Yeah.
So. Is that something you'll encourage or lean towards?
Yeah. I think like it's a mod, so you would have to install it yourself. But the way that the game client's going to work is the game client basically takes like baseline Minecraft and then adds all of our like NFT World specific mods on top of it for you. So you're playing in a modified game client of Minecraft specifically for NFT Worlds within like the bounds of what we can do based on the EULA and everything. But that's kind of apart from this conversation. But yeah, we could include like, oh, you can toggle on VR as an option because we prepackaged that plugin or that mod, and if you want to play VR, it's there.
Have you seen the movie Ready Player One?
Yeah.
Is there any influence there?
I mean, not in the beginning, like, but as we've built more of this, it's very much like, wow, this the way the worlds are getting structured has a lot of parallels to how kind of Ready Player One seemed like it was thought out, but. Yeah,
cool. No. How can project owners, so NFT world owners that create a project on top of them, how can they best onboard members into their multiplayer realm? Like, what does that look like?
So right now, there's two stages to this. There's the right now and then the future. The right now is basically like, let's say you as a project owner, you launch your world. From the world manager in like a week, you're going to be able to hit the enable multiplayer button, and you'll just set your world server details. It'll update that on a smart contract on Ethereum, and then on nftworlds.com/play, which is like the play page, it shows or will show all the playable worlds. It'll automatically show there once you update those details. Your members you can just direct them to nftworlds/play. And they just hit play on your world. It'll give them instructions on exactly how to join. It's basically right now, download Minecraft and then go to multiplayer and enter in the world URL. The future though, where this is seamless and where like we've always intended this to go, probably within the next 2 months is when we'll launch this, is the game client that's prepackaged with everything. You launch the game client just like you would any other game on your computer. You don't have to go through web browser or anything. Okay. By default, you'll be able to search all of the worlds. Maybe you'll favorite the world for your community, and you just click the world, and it'll automatically log you in.
That's what I had a question about. So there's actually, for those that don't know listening, an NFT World launcher that's going to grant different access to a regular Minecraft player, perhaps. Can you go into that detail?
Yeah, the launcher. The reason we're doing a launcher is to solve a few different friction points. The biggest friction point is with a launcher, we have the ability to integrate a wallet so that players joining just to play NFT Worlds, they don't have to know anything about crypto. They don't even need to know how to manage a wallet. It's just baked into the launcher. And then by default, whenever they play in the game, like they'll just see their world token reflected in their wallet and their launcher.
Wow.
And the transactions as well, because we can add the mods and plugins on top that we build. You'll be able to submit transactions that are tied to your wallet from your launcher directly in game. So you go interact with a merchant, it'll be a pop-up like, do you want to send 50 worlds for this item or whatever? You just click a button and it's done. It all comes down to reducing friction and making it just feel like a regular game that is not play to earn or blockchain based. And then from there, the other reasons for the launcher are like, we can present all of the worlds that are available for multiplayer in a more searchable manner and a more like suggestive manner. Like, hey, these are the worlds you might like based on what you played, or hey, these are the worlds that are most popular right now. Things like that. There's just so much more flexibility that we get with the launcher.
Yeah, this might add on to that. Is what could an in-game exchange look like? Are NFT items going to be able to be displayed inside of NFT Worlds?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's two ways the items will work in NFT Worlds. One of them is world owners can, within their world, have more centralized items where they're not backed by an NFT. So
okay.
Say you're just playing a regular world that has some basic Minecraft gameplay or something like that. You want to buy a pickaxe. That pickaxe has no tie back to the blockchain, but you pay like 2 world token or something like that, and then the game just grants you the pickaxe. The other side, which is probably more valuable and makes items, quote unquote, or potentially transferable between different worlds and different world partnerships and whatnot, is we'll have a gasless way for world owners to create NFTs on Polygon that tie back into NFT Worlds. And so if you're making an RPG or something like that and you want like your items represented as an NFT where they can then be tradable off the game, like on OpenSea, because they are part of what would be the NFT World items collection, you'd be able to do all of that. And that's where the other side comes, where they're blockchain backed items. If they're in your wallet, the game, when you log in, knows that like you own this item. It's in your player account, inventory, stuff like that. So
awesome. That's incredible. Now, I know you're a busy man, so we'll
oh, you're good.
Well, Is there anything you want to touch on that that I haven't asked you right now? Because I think a lot of people are excited to watch this podcast.
Yeah. There's so much going on behind the scenes. I don't. I don't actually know.
Yeah.
I guess just the stuff that's really close to coming out that we're excited about. This world staking and rental system will come out as soon as CertiK is finished auditing the smart contracts. Like, it's been done since January. Since mid-late January. But
released it a while ago.
Yeah, it's such a critical contract, and it's like you're transferring your worlds into the contract to stake them. So it's like it has to be like done correctly, and it needs to be secure. We need to make sure there's no vulnerabilities, and that's where CertiK comes in to give us that, clarity. That'll come out as soon as it's ready. The next thing is the actual play to earn blockchain layer for developers to build in world experiences. Will be live in February. The first version will be live in February, so we'll start to see the actual first set of worlds that are having transactions with world come out.
February's a big month.
Yeah,
it's a big month.
February should be a pretty big month. I don't know. We launched the S&P. S&P, for those who don't know, is basic Minecraft survival gameplay, no added frills. It's just base layer Minecraft, nothing custom we built on top of it. But that's been going well. There's, I think, 1,500 unique players or something that log in every day right now, and for just a test, just a test server, and it's we're using this to test make sure there's no lag with the software that we've optimized and all these.
And how did that go? Because you mentioned. We probably haven't hit that capacity at one point in time, have we yet?
So the highest concurrent player count that we've seen, I think, is upwards of 400 players, near 400, so high 300s.
Okay.
Even then, I don't think we're close to a bottleneck yet, because I can pull down the server CPU usage, the how many milliseconds it's taking for what's called a tick per tick on the server. So that's running through entities and mobs and all the block state changes and stuff every single X milliseconds. Those are still really fast, even at high player counts. So I don't know, maybe the bottleneck's 500-600 players, but we haven't seen any indication of being close to it yet. So
what's a ceiling do you have in mind?
I mean, our goal was for a single world server to be able to hold 500 at least players playing together for now. We have other ways to make like 10,000 plus players playing together potentially in the future using something called sharding, but that's like very complicated. We don't want to deal with it right now. But the way that'll work is if you can handle 500 players in a server, you can have those 500 players visible, seeing each other, interacting with each other. And then say you want to scale up your world to more than 500 players. This is where like our approach to scaling comes into play, where it's like, let's say you have 5,000 people that are wanting to play right now, but one server can only handle 500 people. So we have systems in place where you can have 10 individual region servers and each one holds 500 people. And people can just bounce between region servers just like you could in like WoW or many MMOs where they can only handle so many players in each region.
Right.
Yeah, and that's how you scale it up. You just keep going horizontally for however many players you need to support, like 500 or so in each region. And yeah.
So RuneScape did this, right? With
they might have. I forget.
With hosting different worlds, but on the same map layout. Is that what you're describing?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we have the systems in place where like usually this isn't very easy to do because Minecraft like player inventory, player state data is held like on a single machine. So if you were to jump from machine to machine, you wouldn't have the same items on the other server region.
Right.
But like we're building this, or well, I'm actually writing that smart contract right now. It's just about done, where we have the ability for developers to lift all of the player state, player inventory, things like that off of the single machine and into the blockchain, so that regardless of what server you join, it just reads your player state data from the blockchain instead of it being stuck on a single centralized server that can't share with another server. And that's how you scale it.
Yeah.
For some game modes, it doesn't work for like vanilla Minecraft where there's block breaking and stuff like that. But yeah.
Cool. Okay, let me rack off some non-NFT world related questions for those that want to know ArkDev on a different level, I guess. So, what's your favorite sports team or sport?
I'm really into like competitive driving. Yeah, I used to, in the United States, we have something called Formula Drift.
Yeah, I know that, yeah.
Yeah, I used to be a pro-am driver. So not like in the professional series, but like professional amateur series here in around the area where I live. I competed in that for like 2 years, and then I drove for like 5 years total. So like anything motorsports, I'm super into. Drifting, I've always loved.
What's the max speed you've been up to?
There's like an entry for a corner here at the track where I used to drive the most that you come in at like 90 to 100 miles an hour before you flick the car sideways into the corner.
Yeah.
It's probably the craziest, but yeah.
Well, that's anyone wondering what NFT Worlds could potentially do. This guy is capable of doing anything. So.
I don't know.
So favorite video game growing up?
I was really into like Legend of Zelda, like role-playing game type stuff. I played a lot of the Final Fantasies. Yeah, those style of games have always kind of been my favorite, where you progress your character, or like you level up, or like you explore and work towards things like puzzles or items or whatnot.
Right. I asked you that. Have you seen the movie Ready Player One? What's an odd fact about yourself that most people wouldn't know? You answered that already with your NASCAR resume or your driver resume, but what else is something?
Odd fact. I get probably more sleep than people would expect based on like our output.
Well,
yeah,
is that broken into different increments, or is that?
No, I sleep like pretty solid, like 8 hours every night. But like,
good.
I don't know. That usually when I'm not working, I'm thinking through problems and trying to figure out the solutions before I come back to my computer. So it's like. I don't know, just years of doing this, things have gotten efficient where I'm able to keep sleeping and not like overrun myself and not spend all day in front of a computer if I don't have to, but still like get very high productivity because I don't have to spend too much time tinkering and thinking through things because they're usually solved when I sit down or close to.
Right. So you're kind of always on a little bit of an autopilot in terms of whatever
problem you're
taking care of. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
So when you're not coding, developing, networking, marketing, what do you do with the other 12 seconds of your day? No, what do you do with the rest of your day?
Yeah, I mean, what do I do? Usually it's like I'll just try and get outside,
Fresh
whether it
air.
be going on a walk or like going to hang out with friends when I have time, or getting dinner at a restaurant or something like that with them. Um, Before COVID hit, I rock climbed a lot,
Oh, yeah.
but and not outdoors. I did like a lot of gym climbing, but like that's not really a thing now where I'm at because of COVID still. But that used to be a big like stress reliever go to for me, like outside of working. But yeah, it's just try and get outdoors, kind of separate from
Yeah.
technology.
I actually can relate to that. Like in the last 3 months since I was working on SkuxxVerse, I really found that just getting outside for
Yeah,
10-minute, 20-minute walks,
yeah,
fresh air, and try not to like you said, you're good at kind of still solving on those 10 to 20 minute walks. I try to erase everything,
yeah.
but it does, yeah. It just creates your own mental environment, right?
Hmm.
Gets you back in a good state to work on things because screen time is a real thing, right? Like
Oh yeah,
guys like us, we're always in front of it, 16 hours a day, sometimes on a bad day. So 18, it's so important to get your eyes
yeah,
off the screen. So I'm glad with my fiance we don't spend time together watching movies anymore. We go out together and we get outside because she knows
yeah.
that there's things. But so yeah, this is something you might not even have an answer for. But what's a hot take on gambling inside of NFT worlds? And inside of NFT
um,
worlds, I should have asked this before, but yeah.
Gambling. I mean, it's the decentralized nature of everything. We know it's going to happen.
So it is
Within the lot,
possible on inside NFT worlds.
there's people building it already, and
Right,
like
that's what I
the
figured. I didn't know if you would. I don't know if you would confirm that it was possible because a lot of people are building stuff that you're
yeah,
not.
the,
That
I know of three or three to five very high budget casino worlds that are being built right now.
incredible, man.
The thing that we basically tell them is if your world has any gambling, like we're not going to actively promote it in the launcher. If someone wants to search for it and find it, that's fine. But like we know that younger people are going to play, and that's not
Yeah,
something we want to expose them to. The other thing is when people join those worlds, we ask them to explicitly have like a confirmation screen where a player has to verify their birthday. Um,
surely, right? Surely.
yeah. So we're trying to make it as like we understand it's going to happen, like, and the people that are looking for it, like, great, it's there. But like kids or whomever that probably shouldn't be doing that, like we don't want that exposed. And so like it's not going to be something we heavily promote or even promote at all. Like within the
Yeah,
launcher is a world you should try.
yeah. No, that's good. I believe that's good morals. That's really
Yeah.
respectable. But you're right. It's gonna happen. I mean, you look at Decentraland, you look at Sandbox. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
There's a big industry for it, but you're right. We have some partnerships that are going to be onboarding kids essentially to come and play and hang out. So we're not going to be looking to go that direction. But I for sure knew that it was going to be something that projects would think of, and
Yeah.
there'd definitely be a market for it. So if it, yeah, if it helps the wheel token, why not? No, it's just, like
Yeah.
if it does,
More utility.
yeah, it is. It
Sure.
really is. So last question here I got for you is what are some limits you're seeing just right now that we are going to kind of bulldoze through? But like, what's something specific right now that we could be at a limit with? Is there anything?
I think it's just like time. Like there's nothing that's like, oh, we're blocked and we don't know how to get through this, and that prevents us from offering like the things that we've said we're going to do. It's just like it's just the engineering hours being put in, like which we're doing every day. And we have like four other developers aside from myself. So like the engineering team is, I think it's five people. I'm trying to think. There may have been someone recently that we brought in that I'm not counting, but yeah, as we brought in people, as the overwhelming need has become very obvious, like it's accelerated development, and I think some of the community members have probably seen that more recently, where it's like just update after update on just things that were like completely unrelated, like multiplayer server, staking, NFT World coming up all in like a week.
Right.
And yeah, it's just like time is the bottleneck, but we're, you know, using the funds that we have in like the business now, or the quote unquote like the project wallet from all the royalties, since we have like the funds to really build out a development team, to, you know, trade ETH for time, which is exchange and engineering work. So.
And that's the perfect blueprint, what you just did, changing ETH for time. And it's funny what you said earlier with the limitations. It's kind of what I've as a project working on top of NFT Worlds, and I tell our community we are literally correlated with the NFT World success and the NFT World progress. And when I get questions about, can we do this, and I get proposals, I'm just like, yeah, we really can. Like, I do look into it, but I'm like, it's possible. I can't find something it's the reason the question's there. I'm like, what is not possible right now? But anyway, ArkDev, I really, really appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you've answered these terrifically. You're very transparent, and you continue your reputation of executing, getting things done, and